Assalamu alaikum, everyone. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, welcome to the Science of Farming show. We are so excited to have you join us today. Just a reminder for those who are tuning in for the first time, or those who are rejoining us, and for those who are tuning in for your first time, the goal of this show is to connect us to resources and information that encourage us to do what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has asked us to do, which is to grow our own food. So I am Sister Rashida Muhammad. Say that one more time, Sister Melody.
I am Sister Melody Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah. Today we have a jam-packed show with our very special guest, Dr. Ridgely Mumeen. And as you listen to him today, please go ahead and have your questions, post them in our chat, and we will do our best to get to your questions today. And we do have a few questions for Dr. Ridgely as well. So, Sister Melody, will you please do the honors and introduce our guest?
Oh, I would love to, even though I've never done this before. Dr. Ridgely is our Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam. To me, Dr. Ridgely is a no-nonsense genius. I'm telling you, I have had the opportunity and pleasure to travel with him, to learn so much from him, soldiering with him, attending conference with him, and he allows me to be able to call him to ask questions at any given time. So again, he is our minister, and I am so happy to know him, and I believe that we are so honored to have him as our Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. So, Sister Melody, you want to go into any more with Dr. Ridgely?
Yeah, I have been bugging Dr. Ridgely ever since I heard this poem that he wrote, he said in 1999 on a tractor. So it's called Terminator Gene. So in addition to whatever he has to share with us, we would like to know, Dr. Ridgely, if you would be able to, maybe bless us to be able to, recite that so our audience can hear it.
Yes, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
yeah, I'm gonna do the point, and remember this was done in 1999, and then I'm going to break the point down and based on some points that I made. I make a lot of points in the point, but I'm going to show you that it's based upon actual fact. It's not just something that came out of the air, or I wasn't smelling diesel fuel while I was on the tractor. So anyway, here's the point. Terminator, Terminator, terminate our genes. You better find out just what we mean. You're eating good now, but you're going to eat lean because the change in the nature of everything green. Terminator, Terminator, terminate our genes. You better find out just what we mean. They're changing the nature of the living seed. You grow it one time and it won't repeat. The farmers are going to have to pay so much for a seed that they go quit and you won't eat. There's a war going on that you might want to know. You better find out from Monsanto. Germ warfare in the land and the air. They're killing the seed so the seed won't bear. Excuse me while I sound the alarm, but the USDA plans to do you harm. They're the ones that designed these genetic bombs, and they're the ones that took the black man's farms. You got no farms and you got no land, because you would not listen to that little black man. They gave you food stamps and they took away your land. Now you eat all your food from the white man's hand. They gave you welfare so you would not care. So you got your pretty nose stuck up in the air. You got your long nails and your store-bought hair. You're going to choose them nails when the cupboard's bare. You like to ride them fancy cars, but you got no food for your baby's jaws. I know one day you want to be a star, but then Terminator genes ain't let you get that far. There used to be these germinating seeds, but the Terminator gene's going to end that breed. They change the DNA so it cannot read. Kill the people in the middle of the process of greed. There's only going to be two kinds of food, one for the rich and the rest for the fools. Well, they kill black folks, they'll kill whites too, but they'll kill three of them just to get one of you. You see, black folks are still in that baby boom, but they got some poison to end that soon. They messing with the genes and the chromosomes. They're going to put black folks in the twilight zone. If Europe don't want no Terminator food, that should be a hint A little hint for thinking food, but I bet you went to the high-tech school. So you're searching the web for your next bowl of soup, herbicides, pesticides, suicide, genocide. You better use your money to stay alive. Stop spending your money on this high-tech job. You better get you some land if you plan to survive. You better get your priorities back in line. Keep playing the fool. You're going to lose your behind. You're acting real stupid. You're acting right blind. While the devil's perpetrating the perfect crime. I know you want to live that American dream, but that's not in the white man's scheme. It might sound cold. It might sound mean, but the Terminator genes going to end that dream. I know you like that McDonald's and your Burger King, but you ain't gonna like these Terminator genes. They're changing the meat, changing the greens. Fast food runs straight to the burger scene. Terminator genes. You better find out. You better find out just what we mean. Thank you. Now, let's get down to the actual facts.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the sweet version of it. Now we'll get on the whole facts. Okay. Did you know in 1933? Let me see why I'm going back this far in history. I know a lot, but I didn't get it from college. I got it because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan saw in his wisdom and grace to make me the farm manager for Muhammad Farms down here in Southwest Georgia. And while I was farming down here in Southwest Georgia, black farmers came up to me and asked me to ask the minister if I could help them in their struggle against the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And Mr. Farrakhan said, sure, Richley, Doc, help. And I have tried to help. I got my undergraduate and my master's degree at a historically black college, North Carolina A&T State University, in agricultural economics. And I got a PhD from Michigan State in agricultural economics. All that training, I never knew about the continued struggle of the black farmers against the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Not one single word had I heard in all them years of training about the war continued for over 100 years. I'm going to go back to show you started in 1933, even though it started before then, to take us off the land, because when we came out of slavery, they hoped that we would die in the wilderness. But what they did not understand is that we are the tribe of Shabazz who went down into the jungle 50,000 years ago and tamed the jungle, came out building pyramids, okay?
Yes, sir.
So what they did was like throwing a rabbit into the briar patch. They threw us into the briar patch. They threw us into the woods. Not only did we survive, we built Wakanda in the woods, the real Wakanda. Then they came and burned it down. So that's another story. I digress. But I just want to let you know, they didn't teach me this. Okay? The Nation of Islam brought me to this understanding.
Lord Wapa.
And I'm trying to give you some of the fruit of what I was given by my experiences being allowed to perform these different tasks for the Nation of Islam. That's how I have learned the reality of this war and can give guidance to our people on how to deal with this beast in this war, because this is a war. Now, going back to what I was saying. In 1933, the big white cotton farmers, wait a minute, hold on. What else happened in 1933? Who was born in 1933?
Come on.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So what you see, the same way with the birth of Master Farad Muhammad, as the enemy was making a plan against us, Allah was preparing somebody to deal with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1933, the big white cotton farmers did not want their poor sharecroppers, workers, or tenants to spend their time growing their own food. Okay? So they used the 1933 Agricultural Adjustment Act's surplus food program called food stamps. Food stamps started in 1933. Okay? Particularly to give food to the sharecroppers and tenants, to the big white farmers, so that they wouldn't spend their time on their own little plots growing their own food for themselves.
Wow.
So they used taxpayers' money to buy products from the Midwestern farmers, the surpluses, the soybeans, the wheat, the corn, and then give that to the black workers and sharecroppers on the big plantations so that they can keep them away from growing their own food.
Mm.
So now USDA agricultural production programs were controlled by big white farmers, and the food stamp programs were controlled by these same white farmers or their family members, all at the taxpayers' expense. Although both programs were framed as social welfare initiatives to feed the poor, the programs overwhelmingly benefited white farmers by providing price support for their products while keeping their workers fed with welfare cheese. Okay? This is war.
Right.
Slavery didn't break us. Slavery didn't make us so we didn't want to farm.
Right, right.
They wanted to farm. We bought 16 million acres from 1865 to 1910. And then they worn that away, stole it from us, tricked us out of it, burned us out of it. And to make you feel that we are suffering from post-slavery syndrome. No, we are suffering from present cracker Jew syndrome. Okay? They continually mess with us. They hang around us, and every time we try to make a move, they come to the counter move to mess us up and then blame us for being sick or stupid or whatever. You murder our leaders, then claim we ain't got no leadership. Shut up. Now, this food stamp program, they're now calling it the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Wow.
SNAP. Okay? And it now accounts for 80% of the USDA's budget of $1.4 trillion. 80% of that is for food stamps. Over the next 10 years, the USDA plans to spend $1.2 trillion to feed the poor, denatured food manufactured by Big Ag. We call it death by legal ingestion, not injection.
Right, ingestion. Right.
Okay? We're eating this crap. Okay, now I know you heard about this $2.1 billion supposedly for the black farmers.
Right, right. Yes, sir.
Let's give you a little background to that and get right into that. This year, the USDA admitted guilt within their own Equity Commission report that I read and I also questioned back in March of this year to the USDA directly and to Vilsack directly. On page 14 of this report, it admits that Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1933 gave local committees, also known as county committees, the power to implement policies. And these local committees, by and large, were composed of white farmers. Today, in 2024, this same county committee structure is still in place, giving basically all taxpayers money to big white farmers to buy up small black farmers. Mm. So this is a program since 1933, where the money to each county, from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, all the money goes through these county committees who does no black voters on that committee. It's all been the big white farmers. They determine who get what and who don't get what. Mm. They put all the money in their buddy's pocket. And then give the black farmer nothing, then to say the black farmer can't farm. Mm. Your tax money that's been used as a war against the black farmers. So now, Agriculture Secretary Vilsack announced on July 31st, 2024, that 43,244 producers will receive payments for past discrimination by the USDA in loan process, which would amount to $2.1 billion. Mm. Now, first of all, if you divide $2.1 billion by 43,244 recipients, you get $48,561 per person. That would not buy a tractor.
Right, right.
It's hard to buy a pickup truck.
Right.
For $48,000, much less of land. Come on now, this is crap. Now, but that's not. Listen to the details. Like Mr. Farrakhan said, "Don't wait, just listen to the details." Number one, this money, $2.1 billion, is split over 11 different categories of discrimination.
Wow.
Race is just one. Then you got color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, age, marital status, disability, prior civil rights activity.
Wow.
So that means that all these different categories is different into that $2.1 billion that did not go specifically to black farmers.
Wow.
Okay, this
Wow.
is they play, they lie, they cheat, they trick you, and they will continue to do it. This is why we're going to have to do for ourselves a die slave.
Dr. Ridgely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You hit it right on the head, leading us into the next phase, because this show is about connecting us to information and resources so that we can do what the minister asked us to do. Can you please emphasize to our audience how important it is to grow your own food and to start now and to start small, because it can be overwhelming if you try to jump in it. But this show, we try to show people step by step how you can do small things.
Well, we have a book called The Science and Business of Farming versus the Art and Hobby of Gardening. You know, when people call me asking me about farming or gardening, I tell them, have you got the book?
Right.
Because I put everything I know almost in that book.
Give that name again, Dr. Ridgely.
It's called The Science and Business of Farming versus the Art and Hobby of Gardening. You can go to noimoa.org and you go under books, noimoa.org, and look on the books, and then you will see that book listed.
Okay.
Then you can order that book by sending a check, a money order to the address given, and we will send you the book.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Now, start small, with a pot, with a backyard. We have in the Staple Goods Project co-op, we have a package of 15 different types of vegetables.
Yes, I have it.
And in each one of those packets is enough to grow 50 feet of a particular crop,
Yes,
like
sir.
okra or tomatoes or sweet corn, even navy beans, and not even wheat.
Mhm.
Okay, we have 15. So you start off with that, and then you grow into the next step, because what you will find, there's two major problems you're going to find when you're doing farming. Number one is the weeds.
Mhm.
That's number one. Weeds grow 24/7. 24/7. You might go out there one day and you say, well, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I come back in 2 days. You come back, you say, oh.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And then the other one is harvesting.
Mm.
For instance, when you start harvesting okra, you got to harvest okra every other day.
Yes.
Mm.
Because if you miss a day, the okra gets hard. Then if the okra goes to seed, then the plant stops producing. So you got to pick every other day, or at least one every 3 days. If you pick once every 3 days, you'll get some hard okra in there. The only way you can get nice tender okra is every 2 days. Same thing with tomatoes. You got to harvest those on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay? And then when it's time to harvest, like for your sweet corn, you're only going to have a week and a half before that corn gets too hard.
Hard, right.
Okay? So you got to go in there and you got to make it happen. You got to do it. You cannot, you don't mess with Mother Nature. Mother Nature said, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to let you learn me, study me. And you better do what I say. You better do it, because if you don't, you ain't going to get nothing. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna get nothing. Now, this is important because when we came up out of slavery, we knew farming. That's all. We knew farming. We knew building houses. We knew making clothes, because we did it all for slave master. Okay? So we were thrown out into the bushes. Oh, that's no problem. We can do that. We can cut the trees down and build our own homes. We were used to hard working.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, they studied us. And in 1914, they did a report called the Georgia Agrarian Revolution from 1865 to 1912. And they said that black folks were buying up a whole lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't do that. They're not ready yet to be independent. As a matter of fact, what we have to do, we got to develop some wants in them.
Mm.
Meaning what? If they bought 16 million acres of land, then they wanted land.
Mm.
Okay? But what you're meaning by that, Mr. Scientist, is that they don't want our stuff. We don't want your stuff because when you throw us out in the woods under Plessy versus Ferguson, that was not about us coming to town at a water fountain. That was about us coming to town, period.
Right.
You denied us health care. But by 1910, we had 8 medical schools. By 1923, we had 200 hospitals. So when you say, what do you get to get black people to grow their own food? Well, you got to take them back, pull out of them this last 100 years that's been put in them, because slavery didn't do that. No. Now, integration. They tricked us with integration. We gave up our schools. We gave up our hospitals. Okay? We gave up our restaurants. And now look what happened with COVID hit. 40% of all black businesses was wiped out.
Right.
This is 40%. 40% of all restaurants in New York City, black or white, green or yellow, were wiped out. Okay? But guess what? They kept open. You hear fast food line straight to the murder scene?
Right.
Fast foods. Well, they kept McDonald's open. They kept Kentucky Fried open. Okay? Now you got 2 lines going around McDonald's. Okay? But they shut down mom and pops.
Right.
Okay? So this is why you got to have your own, and you got to have your own right now, because I can confront Vilsack on this. Right now, they have allowed Bill Gates and others, like the man who owned John Mackey, who owned Whole Foods. He sold Whole Foods to Amazon. Him and Bill Gates put their money together to set up a company to make fake chicken.
Right.
And the USDA approved it. So that's why I confronted Vilsack. I said, so now you're going to use $1.2 trillion of government money to feed poor people, and you're going to feed them fake food.
Fake food.
Right.
The government money. So
and
this is why you better grow your own food, and don't be asking no black farmer, is it organic? Do you know what organic is? Organic is anything that got carbon in it.
Right. Yes, sir.
They cheat. If John Mackey, the one who owned Whole Foods, all the time you spend that money with John Mackey at Whole Foods, if he would take your money and make fake chicken, do you think he was giving you really good
Whole Foods? Right.
They cheat. And it's in the regulations they can do that.
Now, Dr. Ridgely, because and that touches on what I had in mind with the question, because in your poem you talked about messing with the genes and the chromosome and have black folk in the twilight zone, and it brought to mind how they have these hot chips and hot Cheetos for our children, and our children are literally like zoned out. They just want to sleep all the time or either play the games. So when I heard that in your poem, that was the first thing I thought about.
Well, Minister Farrakhan is always up to snuff, on point, in time, on time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just in this past August 12th edition of the Fallon Call newspaper, he repeated the time what must be done, number 21.
Yes, sir.
Plan of Satan and social engineering.
Yes,
now,
sir.
There's a war going on that you might want to know. You better find out from Monsanto.
Yes, sir.
Now people may say, Dr. Richard, you shouldn't be talking about Monsanto like that. They might sue us. Hell, Monsanto been sued out of business. What are you talking about? But anyhow, this is what the minister said. This is what Mr. Farrakhan said. The government of America, he said, are you permitting the killing of American people by signing into law the Monsanto Protection Act? A law written by Monsanto and led by Senator Roy Blunt, Republican Missouri, making Monsanto exempt from prosecution for the use of genetically modified organisms, GMOs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Now that poem about the Terminator gene technology, the GMOs, I said that the USDA designed these genetic bombs. Monsanto did not design Roundup Ready corn, Roundup Ready soybeans. They didn't do that. Mm-hmm. The government did it. Mm. They designed it and then gave it to a company to a company, and then Monsanto bought the company. They didn't design or make the product. They didn't make the GMO. The government did. And when I read that, I said, why is the government making GMOs with our taxpayer money and then giving it to these corporations?
Mhm.
So I said, they are planning to use genetic modification to wipe us out.
Mm.
They're coming with genocide through genetic modification. And now, what's coming with COVID-19? A genetically modified shot,
Right.
messenger, RNA, to change your DNA, and in fact, to be a false messenger between your DNA and your body, and to make your body produce a foreign chemical. And then your body tries to get rid of that foreign chemical and destroys itself.
Whoa.
Autoimmune system destroys itself. You remember in our teachings that we were taught on the island about the island of Pelon, about they were taught how to come amongst our people, telling lies, causing them to fight and kill one another.
Yes.
Well, guess what? They have produced messenger RNA, which is a false messenger to tell your body to produce a foreign protein. And then your immune system fights that foreign protein and kills the cells that have that foreign protein in it. Therefore, you wind up destroying yourself.
Wow. Yes, sir. And on this show, Sister Melody, I know you want to jump in there with your question, but we've always talked about, Sister Melody, community gardening. I grow tomatoes, somebody else grow oranges, somebody else grow pineapples, and we share. But I know, Sister Melody, you had a question you wanted to jump into, because I know our time is wrapping up here.
Oh, yeah, we down to the last 2 minutes. I wanted to know, Dr. Ridgely, is it a way that 3-year economic program, can we still support you through that 3-year economic program, the farm in Bronzewood?
Brownwood. Yeah. You can go to it's on your charity slip.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're in the nation, you can do it that way. Or you can do you can go to 3-year savings program, 4855 South Woodlawn Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60615. You can go directly to that and donate to the farm underneath that. And we really went to Cuba in 2006. Mr. Farrakhan took us down to Cuba.
Yes,
and
sir.
We came back from Cuba and we started the process of having people to, matter of fact, we built 11 raised beds in 2006 when we came back from Cuba at Minister Farrakhan's farm. And so we've been pushing the raised bed gardening through the Ministry of Agriculture, and we have weekly conference calls of the people who in the gardening committee. Okay? So you go to noimoa.org, noimoa.org, and you also see the information about the different committees and the farmers training session where we answer questions about problems that they've had. The best way you learn farming is from a farmer.
That's
the best way you
true.
learn gardening is from a gardener. So we have a committee that has that. Now I operate on a different scale. I'm talking about different scale. Y'all may not know this, but we've been trying to grow stuff organically on this 1,600 acre farm, 900 open acres. Okay, we've been to different meetings. All farmers who grow organically say they only grow 5 acres. They might have 200, they may have 300 acres, but they only do 5 acres.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, we ran out of time, unfortunately. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 if that's possible.
Are. But Sister Melody, I'm so sorry. I do want to honor the one question that we do have. If we can just put that question up, because I want to at least honor that one question that came in. And can you please flash that one question? Okay, it's from Brother Ronald Robinson. How many tractor trailers, box trucks, and tractors do you need?
How many stores do we have?
Come on. Yes,
you got to have a place for it to go.
Yes, sir.
We don't have no stores. We don't have no grocery stores. We don't have no restaurants. We don't have no hotels. We don't have. That's why we're doing the Stable Goods project, and it's going so slow because the people are being fed by SNAP. So when you come to them with some food they got to pay for, why they got to pay for food when they can get it free? All right. So the tractor trailers is not the issue. The truck is not the issue. The issue is where they're going to go. Because we work with our black truckers, but the problem is a truck. Listen very careful. A tractor trailer truck, 40,000 pounds in the tractor trailer. Then to make money is designed that you move that from point A and point B and you unload it. Not stop at 15 and 20 cities trying to get rid of 40,000 pounds.
Right.
Every time you stop, that's 2 hours you lose. And when you lose that time, you can only drive 8 hours and you got to shut down.
Mm.
So they can't make no money servicing you spread out all over the country with nothing. Yes. Now, if you had some grocery store, this is why we demanded, one of the demands we have, along with that 14 million acres be given back to us, that the government sets up, gives us the money and legal right to set up 80 cooperatively owned grocery stores across the country.
Beautiful.
Cooperatively owned grocery stores, so we will have a market for our products, so we can have the truckers that take our products from our farms to the warehouses, to the stores, but we don't have no outlet.
Yes, sir.
Truckers can't do nothing.
Right. Yes, sir.
First, the market comes first. The Jews came over here because they were tired of paying the cotton from Egypt and India. So they didn't come over here to grow cotton just and try to find a place to sell it. They want to replace those who were producing it with a new set that had slaves so they can get it cheaper. So I learned that from the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. That's why we set up the Stable Goods Project. Because first thing you got to do is establish a market. Then you produce for that market. But you can't grow food and go looking for a market because it's perishable.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Brother Ronald, you got your answer. We got some good information out of that question. So thank you so much for that question. If you all have any questions that you'd like to continue to ask Dr. Ridgely, you can go to his Facebook page under his name, Dr. Ridgely or Ridgely Mameen. And also
at gmail.com. Ridgely at gmail.com. Go ahead.
Praise be to Allah. And the same for us. We have a Science of Farming website that you can go to, email address scienceoffarming19@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Dr. Ridgely, this is exactly what we thought it would be. Absolutely fabulous. Yes. We would love to have you back. It's a short in and out show, but we just want to do help others, encourage them to grow something, do something for ourselves. We thank you for your time, and we just hope that we can have you back. Our audience, we thank you so much for your time. We know you learned a lot because we learned a lot as well. We'd like to greet each of you in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.